Hello and welcome to another episode of eSport Summit Talks. Today we are joined by Wiktoria Wójcik, and she's one of the co-founders of inStreamly, a platform that makes it easier for streamers and brands to work together. Thanks so much for joining us. And before we get to talk about your company, what's your personal journey into gaming and esports? What's your origin story, so to speak?
Yeah, so I can say, and once again, hello everyone. I can say that I have experienced gaming and live streaming from many angles. So I started out as a streamer myself. I was a very small streamer in 2016, but it was my first break of seeing gaming, live streaming as a possible career for anyone. And then I had an opportunity to be an interviewer on esports events, and I worked with streamers in esports organization. And as a marketing expert, I worked on 70 plus streamer campaigns for global brands. And now I'm a co founder of inStreamly, a platform that helps streamers connect with brands. So, in short, inStreamly aims to democratize the world of live streaming by giving all streamers access to brand sponsorships. And in the last year, we facilitated over 16K micro sponsorships with streamers and brands like Netflix, Samsung, and PlayStation. So we also have a second product for esports organizations. It's called StreamKoi, and it's used by esports teams like G2 Esports, BAG, or Furia to manage and monetize their streamers.
So, Victoria, you turned actually your passion into like a product, a firm, with a great product. So, what is your mission behind inStreamly, and how did your like experience of being a streamer, working for esports company, gaming companies, how did that contribute in the actual product right now?
So, our general mission is to help streamers grow and, of course, monetize their passion. And also, we are right now exploring an even bigger angle of helping all creators grow and monetize what they do. But this part is in stealth mode yet, so I will not go into it. And yeah, I think uh, in a company, I I was always a streamer and a person that was thinking about doing big things. Like I was always thinking about what can be the next awesome thing I can do for my viewers, what can be the awesome next thing I can do as a person, as a host, as an interviewer. And uh, most of the time, I think streamers, especially small ones, don't get the same opportunities the big ones get. Like they cannot break the wall of, for example, working with brands because
Mm.
it's so hard for them. So I think I bring in the approach of the small streamers, of those young, even teenage people who are trying to make their dream happen and putting their perspective into the company. But of course, I'm not the only one, and not only my perspective is in there, because we are working with streamers directly. Like we are hiring streamers to work representing inStreamly, and also my co-founders have their own experiences and approaches on their own. So Shimon, for example, represents the brands and how they want to work with streamers, with gamers. So how like this industry is important for them and they want
Mm.
to be in there. Maciej was working with organizations, was running an organization. Damian developed the biggest portal for Twitch statistics in Poland. So, in all, I think that we all once experienced the gaming dream, the live streaming dream, like doing, earning money out of this passion. And yeah, we are now just trying to give this the same access to streamers.
So actually, it sounds like you brought a bunch of experts in from every field, kind of, and that's actually a great idea because like I had the opinion, maybe it's wrong, maybe it's not. For example, like small streamers, like really small streamers, streamers who just started out. I've seen plenty which are such entertaining personalities, but like the whole sponsorship deals, banner advertisement, whatsoever, it's always highly nodded on numbers. If you don't have the numbers, yeah, you don't have sponsorships. And it's also, you got a like pretty interesting point. It's hard for the companies, actually, for the managers of the companies to manage like a bunch of small advertisement contracts. So I really love the solution. Like really.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's a wonderfully grassroots approach basically to building connections as well, because it's not only okay we're just doing some deals, but you're also like with the intention of helping like these people grow and get them more business and grow, like it's a symbiosis of some kind as well, which is an amazing thing. And it's also cool because you're not only like you're facilitating growth with the small streamers, but you're also getting visibility to companies in a way that they wouldn't have done or wouldn't have thought before. And you're working with some big names in the business, as you've also alluded to, like or Samsung or G2 on the esports organizational side. Out of all the different corporations and campaigns you've helped facilitated or manage, what was your personal highlight, and what was like the special sauce of it?
I think my personal highlight was Netflix The Old Guard campaign last year. Also because it was like Netflix came back to us for a second campaign, and it was also the first campaign on the German market. So we started out in Poland, and then we had to make the campaign both in Germany and in Poland. And what was interesting about this campaign, and what was the most interesting thing, it was not only like a sponsorship between streamers and Netflix, like in showing the old guard banner in their stream, but also via our technology, we made it possible for viewers' nicknames to be visible on the artwork live. So basically, it came from the idea that viewers are paying streamers to be visible for even 1 second on the screen. Like they are giving donations, giving subs, just to be visible for a second. And we wanted to Netflix be the brand that helps those viewers achieve the same thing. And The Old Guard was a movie about a team of mercenaries, and we wanted to showcase the team. So on the artwork that was visible on the stream once an hour with our technology, we made it possible that when the character from the movie appeared, there was a nickname from the person in chat, as in, you chose your character. This is your character as in a game. So in game, you're choosing characters you play with, and this was the choice of your character. And what was amazing, that every time this artwork was shown, the nicknames were taken live from the stream of the people watching it. So every time it was different nicknames, and for every stream and every streamer, it was different. And yeah, I thought this was just really, really cool. And also because it was our first campaign in Germany. I think the other noticeable campaign was the Sprite and Cyberpunk campaign we made in Poland in February, because it was 976 streamers participating in it. So yeah, it's easy to say, it's easier for brands, like the brands work with many streamers through inStreamly, but when you really approach thousands of streamers in one campaign for a brand, it really makes a difference. And the thing you said about the small streamers, apart from giving them an opportunity, it is also very good for the brands themselves. So apart from it being even cheaper and more interesting because there is no advertising clutter, micro-influencers, micro-streamers have very engaged communities. If you are one of the 20 people on the chat watching a streamer, it means that you are in constant interaction with the streamer. So when you see a brand supporting your friend, your streamer that you are sitting with for hours and hours a day, it really it really makes a difference. So those micro streamers are amazing, and I think this is also important for brands that we are unlocking this power.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems hella like it. I mean, over 900 streamers participating in one campaign. It was just in Poland, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. 900 streamers in Poland. Damn. It's got to be a great campaign. Gotta take a look at
Yeah,
it.
it was
Yeah.
it was really cool. So, every time like we try to get as many streamers on board as possible. So, yeah, any streamers in English or in basically any market in Europe, you can join inStreamly and work with brands right now.
Yeah.
That's
But
awesome.
like the next topic, sorry, it's like a rough cut, but esports and gaming is, yeah, those are two like different kind of shoes, but actually it's not the same, but it's like in the same area. So they've been such an enormous market lately, and really rivaling like traditional sports. I mean, especially in times like these right now. So in terms of viewership, on the one hand, but also in terms of prize money. So, I mean, how could it be that it's for businesses? It's always like, okay, it's the new thing. How does it work? So, what would be like the main thing, the main tip you could give like companies trying to get involved in one of those two areas, or let's just say in gaming entertainment, targeting like streamers or what else? How could they get started in like marketing in gaming or esports?
So if I was to give just one tip, because I have a couple
You
of
can
them.
go for free though. Like
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one would be differentiate between live streaming, esports, and gaming, and decide where you really want to be. So esports, gaming is gaming, so it's very broad, like sports. You can be a sports fan if you are riding on your bike with your child on weekends, or you can be a sports fan that is playing football semi-professionally and goes to every match of his favorite team. And this is a sports fan. And it's the same in gaming. So you can be a gaming fan by playing a mobile phone game in the middle of the night because you are nursing a child, and you can be a gaming fan, a teenage boy that grinds in CSGO and wants to be a professional. So understand that gaming is broad, and esports is just like the professional, aspirational of being the best player in the world and competing part of it. And actually, it's always funny because esports is just 1% of gaming, like in market value. So, and live streaming is a way of distributing content. So live streamers are like YouTubers, but instead of making a video, they are streaming live and interacting with the audience. And most of them play games because games are quite an easy content. It's something like it grew from gaming, but you can always view live streaming as something broader. And of course, every esports tournament will be live streamed, and 90% of live streaming is gaming right now. So my first tip would be know what you want and why you want it, or ask for help. And this help is very important because you need to put the community first and trust the streamer, the gamers, the esports organization. They know those communities, this audience that you want to reach that is so weird and specific and maybe novel for you. So you have to have some trust, ask for help. Don't do a sticker for gamers and a pixelated font and say, okay, yeah, we are making a gaming campaign. No, it won't work. They have a bullshit detector, like esports and gaming audiences have a very, very good bullshit detector. They are Gen Z, they grew with internet, they grew with advertising, so they know advertising when they see it, and they know not honest advertising when they see it. So what you should do, you should be honest and show that, for example, even a brand that says, I am supporting this top esports team. We don't know esports yet, but we are here. We want to know you. We want to know your community. Come and build esports with us. Let us be the part of this place. So being really honest and knowing your place if you don't know the community is really great. those people, the audience is very open to honesty and even laughing at themselves. So you should be also honest and be able to laugh at yourself. And yeah, I think this is the most important, in a nutshell, of how to do advertising with esports and gaming. And yeah, I think this is a space when you can experiment, when you can go crazy, or you can go safe. Just be open that this community will not be easily tricked.
Yeah, definitely. And what's so interesting for me about like this whole esports and gaming space, basically, especially the esports space, is that each game basically is its own little microcosmos. So it has different cultures, different memes, different language, different values, even to some extent. And I gather it's probably basically the same with like live streaming. So each live streamer fosters their own community, and they gather around like same kind of ideals or same kind of like ways to look at things, because otherwise you wouldn't get engaged into that. And especially small streamers, and a couple of friends, of course, of mine are like small streamers like this. It's kind of like hanging out with friends. So for me, because you already alluded to it a little bit to the next question, so I'm going to try to formulate it a little bit differently. If I'm a company, like I'm a business, and I want to do marketing, and I approach like inStreamly and want to do like a traditional CPV campaign, like Twitch, YouTube, or whatever, how would I go best about it if I want to say, okay, what kinds of communities can I expect to find, and how can I create content and promote the content that fits? Like, do I need to do like a bazillion different kinds of content to fit it to each audience, or can I go broad and go for everything? Like, or is it something in between? So what is my best approach on the content part for marketing in that field?
So I think it's similar to general digital advertising or sponsorships, anything. So on one hand, you can make your general group, like a demography, males 18-34, and do a message for it, and it will work. And you can always make specific messaging, specific content for small groups. So people who work here, people who work on in other place, or people who are interested in that, but not in this. So you can always go deeper, and the deeper you get, sometimes the better targeted it is. So it's the same with live streaming. You can look at live streaming as, in some terms of like demography, a homogeneous group. So it's Gen Z plus millennials, so let's say 13 to 34, and they share some similarities. So they play mostly video games, 80% of them use ad blocks, they watch live streaming for 95 minutes a day, they are interested in new technology and in gaming in general, etc. And it's a description of this group. And it's a pretty good targeting point. So you can go and say, I want to go into live streaming because I want to reach this demography. But of course, if you want to reach the demography of, let's say, the younger part of this group, you will probably target games like Fortnite or Minecraft instead of CSGO and Hearthstone. So if I were a brand right now wanting to go into live streaming and, for example, work with inStreamly, we help also with making the content if you want to work with streamers using inStreamly. So we help with that. But what I would advise them is not to overthink it and just go deeply into live streaming with a general message that fits the demographic, and then see which games perform the best, which streamers perform the best, which messaging, like, and you can do A/B tests. You can then go further and, for example, differ the messaging for certain games. So yeah, I think this is, you can always go deeper with targeting, but sometimes, as in digital advertising, the deeper you get, the more you have to understand the person you're reaching. So you cannot target a very, very specific niche fan, like Hollow Knight speedrunners fans. I watch too much speedruns of Hollow Knight, so I can say that.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So if you want to target people like this, you really need to understand what Hollow Knight speedrunning is, and you have to make a joke about not talking to elder bug and not taking grabs, all those things. And if you don't know it, you cannot target those people. It will be way better if you just, for example, target people who like platformers, because it's easier to understand them. So I would not overkill it. I would not overthink it. There are brands that, for example, don't want to be around certain games. So, for example, they don't want to be associated with guns, so they don't want to be present on CSGO. We provide it easily, but also the same people who play CSGO will play Minecraft the next day, or will go on just chatting. So, and the same people will be watching them. So it's tricky. You have to think about it as maybe even similar as in television. So on TV, you just have a lot of people watching content, and if you are putting a Bruce Lee movie, the demography will change a bit. But generally speaking, on a certain day, on a certain channels, there will be the same groups watching.
Yeah,
Cool.
makes sense.
Yeah, no, and I like your explanation of all that, because it isn't rocket science, but it kind of is at the same time. But
It's rocket science if you make it a rocket
yes,
science.
exactly. But it shouldn't be something you should be afraid of to do, because it's like digital advertising, which was like the new shit years ago, and nobody wanted to touch it, and now everyone's getting into. It's the same thing basically, just a different medium on delivering the messaging, and in different, like, there's people there. There's not just I have my own page, but it's different people interacting, and it kind of fosters a different kind of emotional connection as well to brands, which is, like, for me, one of the most interesting parts about this whole gaming esport live streaming experience and working together with brands. There's so much more creative ways you can integrate your brand and your marketing plans into what people want and what they want. And as you say, you can go as small as the Hollow Knight speedrunner community, or for me, it would be the Zelda Ocarina of Time speedrunning community. So, or you can go as broad as, okay, I'm gonna do everyone who is in just chatting, which is one of the biggest categories right now, where people just talk about stuff and the world. So it's interesting, yeah.
And I would say that no gamers really identify themselves as gamers. Like, they don't go to a party and say, "Hi, I'm a gamer." Like, this doesn't happen. So you should also think about people who are watching live streaming, esports, playing games, as not this mystified gamer, and this is like a class in RPG. Like, you can be a bard, you can be a barman, and you can be a gamer. Like, you wouldn't go and say, "I advertise to bartenders, to bartenders, and do specific, like, if you're advertising not a drink, not a tool for bartending, but you're advertising, let's say, a new movie." You wouldn't target at them. And it's the same with gaming. So it's always good for brands to look at the audience as people who are interested in the thing, but it does not mean that they're only this. They are real people.
I think it's kind of weird if you like turn back the time for, like, let's just say 7 years, where Facebook was actually a good marketing place, and now it is Instagram. It's almost the same thing, the same marketing approach. You advertise to people in specific age groups, genders, interests, whatever. But I don't know why, but like the gaming and esports and live streaming sphere always got this like bubble around it for people outside of it. So they view it as like the special holy grail kind of thing. This is the shit, we know it, but how do we approach it? It doesn't have to be that hard. Like I really loved your answer, because basically you just said get started with a broad message like you would do in like radio, television, or for example broad social media campaigns, and then just see what the response is like. Just see how people react on your advertisement, and slowly but steadily get a hand of it, get a feel for your audience, for the audience you were like advertising to, and then you see you see if there's a response, if there's sales or there's not. So I really loved the answer.
Yeah. So what the brands can do, and fortunately now they have more room to do it, because 10 years ago all millennials were teenagers and Gen Z were in primary school. So now you have millennials, you have Gen Z normally working in your brand, in your companies. So go ahead and ask them for opinion, ask them for the input, or into gaming, into live streaming. Maybe they're passionate about games. Uh, just go and meet the audience. And there's even a saying that in venture capital, but it's always funny that you wouldn't imagine how many venture capitalists consult with teenagers daily. So it's the same. You have to consult with the teenagers.
What was like your favorite game in the last couple of years? Because like you just make me curious with the speed running stuff, but like what's your go-to game? Are you more like story driven kind of gamer, or is it more the competitive esports kind of thing?
It's a great question. I would think like in the last couple of years, like if you would say 5, it would be League of Legends, because I was absolutely obsessed with League of Legends.
We've all been
Watched,
there.
yeah, we've
Yeah.
all been there. Watched every major league, everything, but I was never competitive. So I never play ranked. I always wanted to play with friends, and this is why I also started streaming, to just have people to play with. And later it was Witcher 3, obviously. And right now I would say Hollow Knight, because if I look into the last year, I would say I spent the most time watching and playing Hollow Knight. I'm playing Hollow Knight on easy mode. I just installed a mod. I want to have fun. I'm more of a fun gamer, never competitive, but I watch a lot of esports. Like I enjoy watching great players, and I think there are more and more people like me. So they are not gaming that much in a week, because it's demanding from you. You have to be focused. You want to be good at it. Like it's a challenge. And if you watch esports, you get the challenge, the best place in the world, without the need to be the best. And it's same with live streaming. You can watch somebody play a game and you have nearly the same experience, but you don't have to put that much effort into it.
Yeah, I can see the point, because like I feel like I'm the same, but with the difference that I actually only play kind of competitive games, and I know how frustrating it could be if you run into an opponent better than you and just get slammed.
Yeah.
Really, everybody playing online games will agree with me right now. But yeah, I think that's the majority, like watching big events, because it gives you kind of the excitement, the kind of fandom of like esports team. I think that's what makes it so special. You can relate to the players in a certain way if the organization is doing the marketing right. But it's also the competitive, like the hype kind of thing. But I think everybody watching is kind of enjoying games themselves. Doesn't have to play it, but at least enjoying it. So
Yeah, like what you said about competitiveness and the sweet taste of winning. I would say that my best esports moment when I was working in esports team, and I was in the studio when we played the final of regional league, and they won. And the emotions you get when you really leave the experience of playing. Like I wasn't playing, but I was really invested into that. So I can imagine like how big of a deal it is for the players, and when they just rise up the ranks and they want to be better and better and better, and the emotions you get in this way, I think that they are uncomparable to anything.
I'd strongly agree.
Yes. And that's, I think, one of the best ways to kind of end this episode on one of the most positive notes that you can have, like all the excitement and the energy and the passion that goes into everything that is going on in the gaming and esports and live streaming worlds, just wonderfully summarized in one example. So thank you so much, Wiktoria, for joining us today in our Esports Summit Talks episode and giving us like a lot of insight into basically what it is like to work in this space and what defines us all, which is the passion for what we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.